Imagine stepping onto an alien planet with lush jungles, floating mountains, and glowing forests full of creatures unlike anything you've ever seen before. Now imagine living among a native species, learning their ways, and becoming part of their world. That's exactly what Avatar delivers. A sci-fi epic that revolutionized filmmaking and is still the #1 grossing film of all time, like 15 years later. But does it still deserve that #1 spot? Well, you're in the right place to find out. Welcome back to another movie review. Today, we're diving into James Cameron's Avatar, a film that shattered box office records and redefined visual effects in cinema, released in 2009. It introduced audiences to Pandora, a breathtaking alien world brought to life with groundbreaking CGI and 3D technology. This story follows Jake Sully, a paralyzed former Marine who joins the Avatar program, controlling a genetically engineered Na'vi body to interact with the native species. What starts as a mission to gain intel for the military quickly turns into a journey of self-discovery, love, and resistance against human exploration. And there's tons to unpack here, from its stunning visuals, but is Avatar just a visual masterpiece, or does it have the substance to back it up? Let's jump right in and find out. At its core, Avatar is a story about transformation. Jake Sully, played by Sam Worthington, is a former Marine, confined to a wheelchair, given a second chance at movement through the Avatar program. But what's his mission? To control a genetically engineered Na'vi body to gain the trust of the indigenous people in order to help the human military exploit Pandora's rich resources. But from the moment he steps foot in his avatar, everything begins to change. And Pandora is unlike anything he's ever known. A place where every living thing is interconnected, where the Na'vi live in harmony with the nature rather than trying to control it. Under the guidance of Neytiri, played by Zoe Saldana, Jake learns their ways, their traditions, and the spiritual connection they share with their land. What begins as an assignment turns into a deeply personal journey as he finds himself torn between two worlds. The actual world, in him and his human body, and his connection to the Na'vi people and his Na'vi body. And on the other side of things, we have Colonel Miles Quaritch. I don't know how to say it. He's played by Stephen Lang, a hardened soldier who sees Pandora as a battlefield and the Na'vi as obstacles in the way of humans' progress. His relentless pursuit of dominance sets up the inevitable conflict, one that forces Jake to make a choice: remain loyal to his own kind or fight for the people who have truly accepted him. This inner struggle, paired with jaw-dropping visuals and high-stakes action, makes Avatar more than just a sci-fi movie. It's a story about identity and what it truly means to be accepted. Now that we've talked about the overall feel and the story, let's talk about the golden moment. And with this golden moment, if there's one scene that defines Avatar as a movie, it's the moment Jake bonds with his Banshee, or Ikron. This is the turning point in his journey, where he's no longer just an outsider, but someone truly becoming part of the Na'vi culture. This scene is visually breathtaking as Jake climbs the floating mountains, struggles to tame the creature, and finally soars through the skies of Pandora. It's exhilarating, it's symbolic, and it perfectly captures the film's sense of wonder. Not to mention, there's some pretty funny scenes when he's trying to tame this thing. And now that we've went over the golden moment, let's talk about my personal likes and dislikes and what makes this film truly unmatched. Okay, so first things first, the world building. The world building in this movie is like no other. Avatar doesn't just show an alien world, it makes you believe in it. Pandora feels real, from its massive bioluminescent forest to its complex ecosystem. Every plant, animal, and landscape was designed with scientific thought behind it, making it one of the most immersive sci-fi settings ever created. That's just the beginning. Now we're going to talk about the design of the creatures. The creatures in Pandora are nothing short of amazing. The dire horse, Banshee, and the massive Thanator all feel like real living beings. James Cameron and his team created a believable food chain with each creature serving a role in the ecosystem. Now let's talk about the Na'vi. The Na'vi themselves look amazing. Their glowing skin, cat-like features, and expressive faces make them feel lifelike. Even today, their design holds up remarkably well, especially in those close-ups where their emotions shine through. And this is primarily because James Cameron's breakthrough with motion capture, it really changed this scene. Now that we've talked about designs and the creatures, you know, the world building, those are all really good. But I think the heart of the movie, or what you could say is like my favorite part, is probably Jake Sully's character arc. He starts as a soldier simply following orders, but his journey to understanding the Na'vi and ultimately fighting for them is incredibly compelling. His transformation, it also isn't just physical, it's emotional and philosophical. I know it sounds corny, but we just don't see writing like this anymore. Now, while we're on the topic of Jake and his character arc, let's talk about Jake and Neytiri's relationship. Unlike a lot of forced romances in action movies, Jake and Neytiri's relationship feels really organic. It develops over time as Neytiri teaches Jake about her people and their way, and the bond grows naturally through shared experiences rather than just forced attraction. And I think this is primarily because the chemistry between Zoe Saldana and Sam Worthington is very natural and just really works. While we're on the topic of Jake and Neytiri, let's talk about Miles Quaritch, or Quaritch, still don't know how to say it. He's a fantastic villain, played by none other than Stephen Lang. He absolutely kills this role. Quaritch is menacing, relentless, and fully believes he's in the right. He's not some over-the-top villain, he's a hardened soldier with a mission, making him all the more dangerous. And speaking of Miles, let's talk about the military designs and the tech. The human tech in Avatar is sleek, intimidating, and very practical. The AMP suits, the mech exosuits, which are fucking sick. The Scorpion gunships and the massive RDA base all have gritty, industrial, makes them feel realistic and obtainable in the future by actual humans. With all the character world talk out the way, let's talk about the action sequences and the performances. Whether it's Jake's first time running in his Avatar body, the aerial battles on Banshees, or the final showdown between the Na'vi and the RDA, Avatar delivers some of the most thrilling action sequences, and I actually mean that. Like, this movie came out back in 2009. Like, I forgot how good it was. Me doing this video and rewatching the movie it really is a good movie, and I'm actually excited to rewatch the second one, because I don't think I remember anything about that movie, to be honest. I know he's got kids, but that's about it. I went on a little rant there, but let's move on to the performances. Zoe Saldana in particular is phenomenal as Neytiri. Despite being fully motion capture and CGI, her performance feels raw and emotional, bringing Neytiri to life in a way that few motion capture performances have achieved. And Stephen Lang's Quaritch, I guess it's Quaritch? Yeah, I'm just gonna go with Quaritch from here on out, is equally memorable, exuding pure intensity in every scene. And usually I would segue to my dislikes, but this movie I honestly don't dislike much. There is one thing I thought was kind of corny though, and it's whenever they called the rare mineral unobtainium. I thought that was pretty corny. They could have come up with something better, but other than that, there's not really many dislikes or any widely known dislikes I think I could even talk about. I think this movie is just generally loved by fans. And with that being said, let's talk about why it works overall and why so many people like it. Despite the one flaw I could come up with, Avatar remains one of the most visually and emotionally powerful sci-fi films ever made. It's a testament to James Cameron's ability to craft immersive worlds and tell stories that resonate on a deep level with people. The film's themes, protecting nature, reject, and finding where you truly belong, are timeless. Even over a decade later, no movie has truly matched the sheer scale and ambition of Avatar. And it's not just about the CGI, it's about how the film uses it to transport audiences into a fully real living, breathing world. And with Avatar: The Way of Water continuing the story, it's the perfect time to revisit Pandora. And honestly, like I said before, I forgot just how good this movie was. It still ranks as one of my top 5 films of all time. So what do you think? Does Avatar hold up for you? Have you rewatched it recently? What do you think? Let me know down in the comments, because I'm actually very curious, because when I rewatched it, this movie really just reminded me how good it actually is. And as always, thank you for joining me in today's minimal spoiler review. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe and feel free to check out my previous video. I put a lot of work into these videos and I try to improve on each one, so if you can, check it out. It tells the algorithm that my videos are worth watching, and as always, stay curious and let's keep the conversation going.